welcome to this Feedinfo Review quarterly summary video. I'm Ollie Theocaris, Head of Perspectives Content for Feedinfo. On the 17th of January, the fourth issue of the quarterly magazine, Feedinfo Review, was released to the world. So this digital magazine is available to all, whether or not they're Feedinfo subscribers, and discusses major trends shaping the industry's future. So joining me today is the Senior Editor in charge of Feedinfo Review, Shannon Behary. Hi Shannon, how are you?
I'm good, Ollie. How about you?
Very well, thank you. Excited to get stuck into this content because I really enjoyed this magazine when I read through it. So to kick off, can you talk us through what the main themes are for this issue of the magazine?
Absolutely. So the magazine's overall theme was strategic challenges facing the industry. Recruitment was the subject of the lead story, and we tackled it from two angles, the specific and the general. That is, why do animal nutrition companies have difficulty recruiting for specific positions, and how can we as an industry be better at reaching young people, attracting them into this career path more generally. And we got a ton of actionable information there, specific ways that you, whoever you are in the industry, can improve your recruitment game. So I was pretty excited about that one. Another major storyline within this larger theme were, of course, supply chain challenges, because this was really quite acute this quarter. The magazine talks pretty extensively about that. We've got an explanation on the roots of the container shipping crisis, a discussion about what this has meant for American markets for feed additives, some insight from nutritionists and feed formulators on two different continents about how the situation looks on the ground and the pressures they're feeling. And then when it comes to, let's say, more macroeconomy, we've got a discussion on inflation and the effects of COVID on meat consumption. And then to wrap it all off, we've got advice on how to influence the image that the wider public has about the industry. So, there was a lot of discussion about this at the Feedinfo Summit earlier this quarter, and it's something which truly seems to be top of mind for strategic thinkers in the industry.
I really enjoyed all of the stories that you've mentioned there. I thought it was a great edition of the magazine. I speak to a lot of senior leaders in the sector, and actually all of the kind of key things that people are concerned about at the moment were included. And one of those is, of course, recruitment. So can you tell us a little bit more about why you included recruitment among the strategic challenges that you chose to tackle in this magazine?
So I think there's a lot of anxiety in the industry about recruitment. Are we attracting enough young people into the industry? Is there enough talent getting trained up in the subjects that matter, whether that's animal science or biochem? And I feel like in some circles, there's this idea that we're struggling because of things outside of our control. Oh, there's so much misinformation about our industry that's turning young people off. I disagree with that, or at least I think it's important to recognize that it's not the whole story. On the contrary, what we're trying to communicate in the recruitment piece is that there's things that you can do right now without waiting for a shift in the narrative about our industry in order to improve on recruitment. So it's ultimately a positive message for the industry, but it's an urgent message because as an industry, we need to be proactive about improving our recruitment game. It's on us, it's not on anyone else.
Yeah, that is such a good point. I was speaking to a leader from another part of the food and ag sector outside of animal nutrition, and they've hired someone specifically to do university outreach so they can be getting the best, biochemistry, biology candidates joining their organization. And I was thinking, wow, this is what we're up against. There's quite a lot we've got to be doing to make sure that we remain in competition with chemical companies, other parts of the food and ag industry, and really increase our chances of getting those amazing candidates into our sector. I also wanted to ask you, Shannon, what specifically do you think we need to be doing better as an industry? Can you give us some thoughts on that, please?
Well, I was about to say, I think your contact has got it right on the nose. So the very first thing to do is just to work really closely with schools, with animal science programs, or like you said, biochem programs, any sort of relevant programs for the vacancies you have, and tell them about the animal nutrition industry and its career opportunities and its needs, because it's not necessarily the most visible for people going into those studies who might be thinking, all about conservation or maybe veterinary, but they're not necessarily thinking about the animal nutrition industry. So we need to tell them we exist, we treat our people well, and we want you. We need to be listening to millennials and Gen Z when they say, guys, pay your interns, or please stop ghosting candidates, because how you treat people matters and will be remembered and if the pool of candidates is quite small, you need to be making a great impression from the start. And this one's so important, and I care a lot about it. We need to be seeing diversity and inclusion not as just a nice initiative for when you're not busy with other things, but as something that is really business critical. So as one of my interviewees told me for the magazine, younger generations, even if they don't identify with a marginalized group, that is to say they themselves aren't a minority or LGBT, it's still a deal breaker for them to work in a place that supports everyone. And so you just can't take that for granted.
I completely agree. I think it's something that we all could look at and say, there's a few things we could tweak to make sure we are getting not just good candidates in, but the best candidates in for our business who are going to stay with us for a long time. There really is something for everyone, I think, not just in the article, but in the entire edition of the magazine. So for anyone interested in reading the winter edition of Feedinfo Review, you can find a link in the comments below, or check it out on the Feedinfo website. You'll find a link there. Meanwhile, if you're thinking, I want more, the next edition will be coming out mid-April, and it will be on the topic of downstream views on the meat industry. So it's going to focus on how demands of restaurants, retailers, and consumers are shaping the future of the industry. That one's going to be absolutely fantastic, so do check it out then. Thank you all for tuning in and for watching. Thank you to Shannon for taking the time to speak with me, and we hope you join us for future videos from Feedinfo.